Welcome to another glorious episode of the Best of Cutlery Cavern. That's right, boys and girls. Before there were knife chats with Tobias, there was the Cutlery Cavern. Now let's go back to those thrilling days of yesteryear and check out some of the best of the mediocrity that was Cutlery Cavern. In this episode of the Best of Cutlery Cavern, we'll be looking at those exciting videos of the Case Canoe, the Sagebrush Trail Scout Knife, and the Sarge Camp Knife. First up, the Case Canoe.
Hello and welcome to Cutlery Cavern. Today I'm going to look at another one of my knives by W.R. Case & Sons. W.R. Case & Sons has been around for about 125 years and they have been handcrafting knives in the United States since the beginning. The knife I'm looking at today is the Amber Jig Bone Canoe by them. The amber jig bone is probably the most popular bone material used in case knives, and the reason it is because it is just such a beautiful bone material. Everyone just seems to love it. As you can tell, the bone just blends right in with the bolsters and the back springs. It's very well polished, very smooth, and the jigging on this is actually usually called the peach seed jig. And it's just a very beautiful bone. But actually, I didn't buy this knife because of the bone as much as I did for the blade etch on it. If you can tell, if I can get it to show, there's a nice little Native American paddling a canoe on the blade etch, and it just it kind of brings it out for me. The knife, it's you've got a canoe on a canoe, so it's kind of cool. Another great feature of this particular knife is that it uses a CV steel, so it's a carbon steel, which does mean that you're going to need to take care of it a little bit better. You're going to need to oil it more often and make sure you get those fingerprints off of it so that the blade doesn't stain and such. But it's the old kind of steel that Case used to use a long time ago. The CV stands for chrome vanadium. It is believed to be a 1095 carbon steel, and it just makes it that much better that it's the carbon steel blade, the wonderful peach seed jig bone, and it's just a wonderful fit and finish. Now there's a little story behind this knife because when I first got it, I bought it off of Amazon, and when I bought it, the blades did not close correctly. There was an issue. The pin blade in the back was hitting the Spearmaster blade, and so when I would go to close it, I would have to always close the Spearmaster first and then close the pin blade, which was obviously a flaw with the knife. I contacted Case, I sent it back to them, and they repaired it, and now it works perfectly. It's perfectly, works. The operation is just perfect. Which is the great thing about Case, is because they do stand behind their knives. So if there is an issue with it, and it's an obvious flaw that isn't caused by you, they will take care of it and they will fix it for free. All I had to do is pay for the shipping, but it was well worth it. I got the knife for a steal on Amazon to begin with, and then even with the shipping charges back to Case, it was just a great deal. So there you have it. Case USA. They stand behind their product. They'll repair it if there's a problem with it. You can't go wrong with that. And this knife, the Canoe, just looks wonderful. And the peach seed jig bone, it's not as collectible as Stag would be, but sometimes you buy it simply because it is so beautiful, and that's why the amber jig bone is in just about every Case knife because everyone loves it. Again, CV steel, so it takes a little more care, but well worth it. And there you have it, the Case peach seed jig amber bone with the Canoe pattern knife with the Canoe on the blade. Great knife, really love it. Fit and finish, just awesome. Thanks for watching, and I'll talk to you again soon.
Okay, partner. Time to get out of the canoe and mosey on down the Sagebrush Trail and check out the Scout Knife by Cattleman's Cutlery.
Today I'm looking at a knife by Cattleman's Cutlery. Cattleman's Cutlery is a division of American Buffalo Knife and Tool, and they make knives for people who want to use knives. They don't make knives for people who collect them. They say so on their website. However, as a person who likes scout knives, I pretty much collect anyone that is made these days. And the reason I grabbed this one is because it had zebra wood scales on it, and I thought that looked really neat. So, and at $15 to $20, I wasn't going to pass it by because it looked really nice. And as you can see, the zebra wood is very pretty. It's got some nice grain going with it, which it should with good zebra wood, and it's pretty smooth going all the way across on both sides. So they did a good job with the zebra wood. It's got stainless steel pins. You can feel the bottom one a little bit, but not too badly. The bottom one is the mainspring pin, so it's crucial to be well in there. You got the double C on there, which is the Cattleman's Cutlery logo, and then stainless steel bolsters that are ringed, and they're very nice. You got a good tight bail on the back, so it's really good. So the overall fit and finish of the knife is quite good. I was very pleased with it. It looked good online, and when I got it home, it also looked good. The blades are a kind of a satiny finished stainless steel. The steel used is 3CR13, which is basically equivalent to a 420J2. Can opener is well made. It's not bendy or anything, and it's very tight. So looks like it's a fully functional can opener. Other side, you've got a your basic screwdriver and cap lifter. Also very tight, very thick. It's not thin and flimsy, so it's well made. Got a nice tight punch blade. It's got a nice concave shape to it, which is probably necessary because it is kind of thin, but it's not bendy or anything, and it's very pointy, so it should do a pretty decent job of reaming. And the final blade you have on it is your Spearmaster, also very tight, not bendy or anything. So all in all, the quality of the build is pretty good, especially for a knife that goes for a grand total of somewhere between $15 and $20. Like I said, nice satiny finish on the blades, so it doesn't show the fingerprints too badly, and it cleans up nice. Got a decent enough snap on the blades. So I'm kind of happy with the knife, especially at the price that I paid for it. The only real problem with it is that the 420J2 blades, 420J2 is a little bit soft, so you're going to do a lot of sharpening with it if you're going to use it a lot. But for occasional use, it'll do a good job. And considering the zebra wood scales and the nice finish of it, it's probably worth the $15 to $20 you're going to pay for it. I wouldn't go much higher than that, and it would be really nice if Cattleman's Cutlery would consider going to a 440 or better steel in the blades, because I would pay a good $10 more for better steel in the blades. Other than that, a decent enough knife for occasional use, and it's a good looking knife too. So it's and it's going to look better as it ages because of oil getting into that wood and stuff. So yeah, it's Cattleman Cutlery. This is the first knife I bought from them. I'm considering very much about picking up other knives by them because the quality of the build is there. I just wish they used a little bit better steel. But there you have it. Thanks for listening, and I hope to see you again soon.
Okay, partner, we got a new word for our vocabulary, and that word is bendy. It's a very technical term. It means the blade wobbles, or that it is really easy to bend with your own hands, and not a very good steel if you can bendy a knife. Any case, let's move on to Sarge and see what they can do with a camp knife.
Hello, and welcome to Cutlery Cavern. Today I'm going to look at a knife by Sarge. This is a new company for me, and the reason I bought this knife is because it's an official knife for the Boy Scouts of America. Now that's just licensed. It isn't the official Boy Scout knife. It's just one that's licensed by the Boy Scouts. So basically Sarge has paid royalties to have the fleur-de-lis put on the handle. Otherwise it's just your basic Sarge camp knife. What you have in it is the Sarge shield up here, which I believe is nickel silver. Also has brass pins. Otherwise, it's all stainless steel. Stainless steel bolsters, liners, back springs, and blades. The blades are 440C stainless steel, which is a little bit better than what you usually find in a Boy Scout knife. But there is an issue with it because this is the 440C Spearmaster blade. And if you notice, compared to say the one by the 440A blade made by Rough Rider, it's a very thin blade. It's not nearly as thick. It's about half as thick as the blade on the Rough Rider and half as thick as the blade on your old Camillus camp knives and most of the other camp knives that were made in the United States. So it's a very thin blade. However, compared to the blade on the official Boy Scout knife currently being made in China, it's about the same thickness, maybe slightly thinner. But it is 440C, so it should be a little bit better. We'll see over time. Otherwise, this knife has the same blades that you'll find on any other camp knife. So you got your can opener and your Spearmaster. On the other end, you have your cap lifter with the screwdriver and your punch blade. Let me get them out. So there you have it, your typical 4-blade camp knife. Overall, the finish of the knife isn't too bad. However, there are some issues with the fit. I'll go over that in just a little bit. This is nice and smooth, and the bail is nice and tight. I don't have a problem with that. Blade game relatively sharp. I have no real problems with it other than it being very thin. Can opener is not at all sharp, a little bit pointy, but not at all sharp. So I'm not sure how well it's going to work on cans. And this is the punch blade is very thin, and if you can see, I can actually bend it with my hand, which it's just a little flexy now. I'm not sure if it's something that's going to, if I was to be doing some major reaming with it or punching it through leather with it, I'm afraid I might actually bend it and it may not pop back, or it's going to break because it's, it shouldn't be flexible, at least not that flexible. And another problem with it is it's actually a little loose, and I can actually wobble the blade, which I don't like. The next problem is same thing with the can opener. It actually is very wobbly too, and there shouldn't be any play in these blades, especially with the knife being brand new. So the two tools on the bail end are very loose and they have some play in them. For that reason alone, it would be very hard for me to recommend anyone buying this knife. The only reason I could picture anyone buying it is simply because it has the Boy Scout fleur-de-lis on it. That's the main reason I bought it. If it did not have that Boy Scout symbol on it, I would probably junk the knife or send it back to Sarge, because not at all a quality built knife, even if they are saying that it has 440C steel blades in it. I don't know how good the heat treat is on them or anything of that nature. So at $20 to $25, can't really recommend anyone buy this knife unless they're just an avid collector of Boy Scout knives. It's a shame. I wish it would have been better, but blades aren't supposed to wobble, and that's really the bottom line. If you're going to make it a Boy Scout knife, you should at least make some decent blades to go with it. So Sarge kind of disappointed me with this knife, and with this being the very first knife I bought by Sarge, I'm not sure if I'm ever going to buy another one by them. And that's what happens when you have poor quality control, or that's what happens when you don't really pay attention to the knife you're making. If this is the first knife somebody else gets, they might have the same opinion. Why am I going to buy another Sarge knife if this is the kind of quality I'm going to get? Hopefully somebody can tell me some good news about Sarge, because I hate saying bad things about a company, but right now that's where I stand. Thanks for listening, and I'll talk to you again soon.
Oh, wow, bummer. Nobody wants to leave on a sour note like that. What do you say we do one more video, partner, and take a look at some Rough Rider Canittlers?
Hello, welcome to Cutlery Cavern. Today the knife I'm going to look at is a knife offered by Rough Rider. It is the Canoe Whittler or Canittler. This knife is a grand total of 2¼ inches long. Not a very big knife compared to your standard Canoe. About half the size, 3 5/8 inches, 2¼ inches. The blades on this knife, you've got a clip point that is approximately 1½, maybe 1¼ inches of a cutting surface. You have a small little sheep foot or a coping blade, perhaps a 3/4 inch cutter, and a small spear point blade, also about 3/4 of an inch. If you notice the back spine on the knife, it is a split blade or a split spring. This allows the main blade to drop right in between the other two blades without any blade rub whatsoever. This is the red jig bone pattern. It also comes in the pink lemonade and in orange smooth bone. The orange smooth bone is kind of a burnt orange, a really nice color to it. This is my favorite of the three in the patterns. Really solid built knives, as all Rough Riders tend to be. The steel used is 440A, hardened to about 56, 57. It's really good for your basic cutting needs that you would do on any everyday kind of case. I use it a lot for cutting cardboard, as in box cutters and such. It's also good for other chores, a little too small for peeling an apple, but you'd be surprised at how many large chores this knife can actually do. Big fan of Rough Rider knives. I own about 150 of them. I don't think you can go wrong with them. These knives, 2¼ inches long, price tag on them, somewhere around $8 to $10. They go in and out of production with Rough Riders, but they seem to be around almost all the time somewhere. Really can't go wrong with them if you're looking for a nice small knife that you can carry just about anywhere because of the size. It's really a handy knife to have with you. Obviously not going to be your primary knife out in the woods or something, but you'd be surprised at just how useful this little knife can be. Thank you.
Okay, that's a wrap for another exciting episode of Best of Cutlery Cavern. But don't forget, we have some added features at the end here. We've got a slideshow featuring all the knives that you just saw in this episode of Best of Cutlery Cavern. This concludes another thrilling episode of the Best of Cutlery Cavern presented by the fine folks at Knife Chats with Tobias. And remember, boys and girls, brush your teeth before bedtime, say your prayers, and honor your mother and father. And never, ever stir your hot cocoa with your knife. That will only bring you bad luck and despair. Don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe. See you on down the trail.